All right, let's talk about this. We have different ways of expressing ourselves. We have different ways of expressing love. According to our background, according to our personal preference and what other intangibles there are, we have a preference for how we want to be loved and how we want to love. And when we express tenderness, it can be either by A, touch, the B answer is verbal, and the C answers are task. Now, this is like Spanish, this is like German, and that's like Greek. Now, check it out with your mate. You speak the same language? That's why you're sitting there holding hands. It's important to understand how affection is given. When I went to Mexico, one of the Mexicans there did something very nice for me when I was in Mexico City. And I knew what the word for thank you was in Spanish. And I said, gracias. And that held no meaning for me. And so I said, thank you in English, which had meaning for me. Does that sound strange? We express our love and affection either by touching or by verbally expressing it or by task. Now, if you are married to a task-oriented person, a person who values the task above everything else, they want you to show them by the things that you do that you love them. I am physically touch-oriented. So I come home and I see my wife and I want to give her a big hug. Well, for a long time she wasn't into hugs because they didn't hug in her family. Her mom didn't hug and her dad didn't hug. And they never expressed anything verbally. It was just understood that you were loved. And so she gave me one of these kinds of hugs. I'd hug her and she was not comfortable hugging. That's enough, that's enough. And I could feel her pulling back. And I interpreted that as what? Rejection. What's wrong with me? And I took a bath. So when I'd give my wife a hug, guess what she wants to do? Talk. She thinks she's verbally oriented, but she's really task oriented. You want to know what she wants? She's got this big long list of stuff for me to do around the house. And I say, I love you, and instead she says, well, will you do this, and will you do that, and will you do this? That sounds horrible to me. That she wants me to do things to show her. That's terrible. But she wants to be told, but she wants me to do things. Now, do you believe that in marriage counseling, I will be sitting there talking to a man, and he says, I give, and I give, and I give in this relationship, and I get nothing back. I get nothing back. There's no reciprocation. I give, and nothing comes back to me. And I'll meet with the lady, and guess what she says? I give, and I give in this relationship. I tell this guy I love him, and I fix his dinner, and I do this. And she says she's really task-oriented. And I take care of the house, and the house is beautiful. And you know that guy doesn't care 2 bits for that house? He doesn't care at all. Guess what he wants? He might be all verbal. He might be touched. And this is not necessarily equated to the colors. You might think that the reds are very task-oriented, right? I'm very task-oriented, but when it comes to my wife and the affection part, telling me something doesn't mean a lot to me. I am verbal. I tell my wife every day, I love you. Now, she hardly says that. Guess what? She says, I love you too, when I say I love you. I wait for her weeks and months, and she will never say, I love you. I'll say, I love you, and it's an echo, I love you too. She never initiates anything like that. There was nothing like that ever done in her home. Do you think I could draw some bad conclusions from that? Do you think your kids might be touch, task, or verbally oriented as far as expressing affection? They are. You can get into all kinds of deep trouble in a marriage relationship. One speaking Greek and one speaking Italian or something. They just feel like they're not getting anything back. Now the secret is, if you want to know the love language of your mate, look at what they give to you. If they want to touch, what is their love language? It's touch. We give what we want to receive. Now some people are totally tasked. A lot of us are a mixture. But if you're talking Greek and somebody else is talking Spanish in this relationship, it's very devoid of that emotional something that brings you close together for bonding. It's great if both are verbal. They just sit and talk and they just connect. But it drives me crazy to sit and talk. I can't stand to sit and talk. I got to get up and start doing something. I cannot stand it. I'll go crazy. I'll get an ulcer sitting there. My wife will sit and talk and talk and talk and talk. But she's always asking me to do things. And I am insulted if she asks me to do the lawn. I come in and feel real romantic, and so does she. Her ideas of romance is for me to do the lawn. Okay? I know that as people struggle to understand how their companion expresses love and affection, you will gain in the skill. Look at the signals of what your mate does for you. That guy goes to work and he goes to work and he goes to work, and they're sitting in front of the marriage counselor, and they tell the marriage counselor, he's told me 4 times in 42 years that he loves me. And the woman will name the date each time. The man is flabbergasted, insulted. I've gone out and worked every day, 8, 10 hours every day. I bust my tail to support this family. I've provided this and I've provided that, and I don't want to go to work a lot of time. I go to work and I provide this. Or the mother might be the task-oriented one, and the father might be the verbal one. And he comes home and he's starving for bonding and affection and intimacy. And the wife is into cleaning the house, and she's into this, and boy, those kids are all lined up. He says, slow down. Come touch me. Come love me. Come tell me you love me. Do you see how obvious it is with your companions? Can you see how people can sit down in front of a counselor and say, I'm not getting anything out of this marriage? And the counselor hear it and bring them both back in and say, he says this and she says that. And they're both really flabbergasted. How could you feel that way? I'm giving out love messages every day. I'm showing you how much I love you every day. And she's saying, well, I want to touch you and you don't want to touch. And I feel rejected every time I touch you and you pull away. He's working so hard, he hasn't got time for the touch. Now, as that works among the companions, can you see how a child might want hugs, or might want to be told, or might want to be shown? Can you see that it's not what you're giving when you're giving the love language, if the person themselves can receive that love language and what their love language is? And the big key to that, of figuring it out, is to watch how they communicate love. If they want to touch and they want to hug, that's their love language. If they want to show you with good grades and excelling and doing things for you, then that's how they want that love reciprocated, in that way. And even though you might feel awkward, even phony, giving back love on a touch or a task basis, that's what they need. And parents can sit there with their children. The parents can love these children, be putting out this love and all this communication, and the kids sit there and think, my parents don't like me. They don't love me. They never communicate with me. And the parents are flabbergasted. How could you say such a thing? I talk to you all the time. Or I provide you this and I provide you that. Okay, there's a question over here.
Well, maybe you've kind of answered it, but when you were talking about your wife coming from a non-touching, non-verbal family, do the kids come innately with their own kind, or is it a family dynamic learned thing?
Well, John Lund, who wrote the book, said that he feels that the family is very, very influential in determining whether it's hugging or how they express it. And we begin to express it by what we see and we mimic. But there's another factor there that overrides that, because coming out of the same family, you'll have task or touch or verbally oriented people. And although the family is influential, it's not deterministic. I believe that I would like you to think this week and do a lot of thinking, a lot of testing, and find out what each one of your children's love language is. Because that helps in bonding. Because when the child loves the parent but feels that they can't communicate, there's something wrong. Now, the parent might be communicating in the parent's love language. The parent is communicating by showing the child how much they love them, by giving and providing things. The child isn't so much interested in what you give to them. They're interested in what you do to them, or what you say to them. And so the child can just turn on. That might be a tremendous reinforcer. Just a pat on the shoulder. Thank you, sweetheart. Just a pat on the shoulder. Or, I appreciate that so much, the verbal thing. Or, hey, I really appreciate how great you've been helping with your sister and your room has been so great. Let's go to a movie together. Let's go shopping. Let's get you a new skirt. Do you understand the difference, the task, touch? And ask them, what would you like? And take the clue and recognize the fact that each child is more predominantly touch or verbal or task-oriented in their love expression and receiving love. Because I could give out a task thing and the person not pick it up as a love message at all. I could give out a verbal thing and they not pick it up as a love message at all. I could give a hug and they not pick it up as a love message. But somewhere, there's a love message that's going to connect with each child, more predominantly. How many of you have already heard of this? Not very many. It's in John Lund's book, Avoiding Emotional Divorce. And basically what he's saying, there are different kinds of love languages. And what you need to do is to find out what the love language of your mate is and love them in their love language, not your love language, if it's different. If my love language is different than my wife, what's going to happen is I'm going to be talking Greek and she doesn't speak Greek and nothing is being communicated. In fact, on the other hand, she's talking to me in Spanish and I'm wondering what's going on. And she's got the feeling that I'm not reciprocating at all. A comment?
You know how you said at the beginning when you said thank you in Spanish, didn't feel like thank you. You had to say it in your language.
Yeah.
Well, how do you overcome that when you're trying to speak your spouse's love language and you just kind of feel like you're not
It's not communicating.
expressing yourself?
I know that-
That's frustrating.
Yes, it is. And so there's two aspects of this. Your spouse has to recognize what your love language is. And when you're talking to them in your love language, which is different from theirs, they learn to recognize it and to respond to that. On the other hand, you learn their love language. I pointed that out because it's unnatural. It doesn't feel right. It feels goofy. It doesn't even feel sincere. It's not coming from me. It's something else. But boy, it really rings a bell with her. I got out there and I bought some stuff and I fixed 2 or 3 things and went through the house and fixed all the faucets and she fell right out of the tree. Can you believe that? I just can't believe it. It's just like stupid, man. That's got nothing to do with our love. In fact, I've been insulted in the past. I'm hugging you, and I love you, and I say I love you, and I got you in my arms. I'm getting some romantic ideas here. And she says something about a door handle that fell off. And I says, what? What? And she was responding in her language. Is something like that that stupid? You know, you say you can't figure these women out? This is a key. They're goofy, okay? But so are we. And we're just talking in different language. It will feel unnatural. So you see how there's 2 sides of the coin? And this one woman that was saying, I can't stand this guy anymore, I'm going to get a divorce. And the counselor said, well, what I want you to do, they've determined that his love language was very task-oriented. And so every morning when he goes to work and he gets up early and he's tired, you put your arm around him and you say, I really appreciate you, how hard you work for us. And do that for 30 days. And guess what it did to that marriage? It turned it around.